Yeah, yeah, yeah. Show me some. Show me some. Show me some. Show me some. Show me some.
Jason.
You really wanted to throw me off today with the no glasses, huh? See, I caught it this time, Mer. I caught it.
It was a last minute decision.
You know that old saying, screw me once, shame on you. Screw me twice, shame on who? Not going to happen again. So back by popular demand, Miranda, our 67,000 listeners all wanted this guy back, and we were able to make it happen at the last second with this dude's insane schedule. So many of you said that Nate was radtastical, and we appreciate it. Miranda, did you have a chance to show your boys yet or no?
Yeah, actually, we're gonna blow it up again because it's like you can do anything once, right, Nate? We talked about last time, right? But you do it twice, then it's for sure. So yes, we're gonna knock the socks off that 11 and 12-year-old kids, man. Show them who's boss.
I'm just gonna go beat Kale up, and
so anyone can do it once, but if you do it twice, it's for sure.
Ooh.
That's right.
Well, I think that's what you said last time about the fact that one of your agents did 100,000 in like their first month, but you said no, it was actually 2 people did it. So
there you go.
Yeah,
that's right. Look at that. See, she's got a brain on her. Nate, don't try to call her out.
Right.
But listen, man,
no one's calling her out. That's for sure. I don't mess with someone with such radtastical abilities.
Oh, he's put it in there again. So again, we'll pay attention to the time, right? But just because I think we can get so carried away with Nate Auffort and just that wealth of knowledge that he has up there. And again, I got so excited too at the tail end of that last podcast, that last episode, Nate, because we actually, Miranda, if you remember correctly, we did like a two alternate choice way back when, right? I don't know how many episodes ago it was, but call it 10, 12 episodes, 14 episodes ago. And Nate kind of tapped into that. And like, I think that he even just last time, he kind of covered some of the stuff that we covered, but he just explains it differently, right? Yeah. And it's
universal, John, you know that. I don't think magical. I learned from a mentor making $1 million a week net back in he was in the 90s. He had, I don't know, 72 exotic cars, right? He had a watch that cost more than most people's home on his wrist. He had his 10 homes, he was making $1 million a week net after his 2 planes and his $120 million mega yacht. Back when it was cool. And now they want you to make $1 million and give it all away and drive a Prius. I get it's frowned upon now, but it's a different type of a spot. But yeah, so it's not my stuff, man. I wish I could credit it's my stuff, but
that's so funny though. But like it just goes back to like who you're groomed by, right? You're the circle of the five people that you hang around with, like that is inevitably who you become. And Nate, I've seen that house of yours, and of course we've all seen that.
Oh, okay. The first time I went to Nate Auffort's house was with John, and Nate had printed off pictures, I think maybe 20, 30 pictures of John Ziller, and they were in every freaking room. They were in the closet. They were in like his kid's bedroom. It was the funniest thing I had ever seen. Nate, and his house is amazing.
8.5 by 11 photos, color photos of John, one right on my bed, right between the John cannot stop laughing. That was pretty funny.
They were everywhere. And like you had it right front and center, like on the kitchen too, on the
mantle above the fireplace.
Yes, I was right. I felt like I was a part of your home, Nate. You made me feel welcome.
Yeah, and you're hitting the golf putting green in the backyard, kicking my ass, but
you're damn right, buddy. That's just
on my own putting green. You kicked my ass on
it. But man, you did. You got into it was the alternative choice.
Yep.
Right, and kind of leading them, and you started to get into it, and it's like, Miranda, that's sometimes where I wish like these podcasts were like 45 minutes to an hour, because we could just unveil so much and really kind of get into the meat. Sometimes it takes us, you and I, a little bit to warm up, but Nate, he just dove right in last time and absolutely slayed it. But Nate, let's get into that again, man. Let's
Well,
get into the alternative choice, kind of that path that you started to head down. And if you need me to refresh your memory, I can. But I'm
I
sure
think we were talking about at the very end about, you know, the dog and looking for somewhere to pee and you hold the leash, right? I think Miranda asked me about that. She's like, repeat
Yes,
that
you
again,
did.
if I remember correctly. And it's nothing more than, you know, you can't ask a question that can have 72 directions it can go, because then you're screwed.
Right.
If I can ask a question, a leading question, and give them a trapdoor A, trapdoor B, and I already know the answer on the other end of that, you know, there's a McDonald's down the right, and there's a Burger King on the left. They just got off the exit. Okay, well, if they turn right, you're going to go 300 feet to your left. There's the McDonald's. If they turn left, you're going to go 1,000 feet. There's your thing. I already know. So if someone called me up and I'm calling an aged lead, say, for example, in the insurance business, and I say, hey, you know, this is Nate. I'm just doing an investigation, blah, blah. Oh, I already took care of it. How wait, before you hang up. Well, you got to do it like that. Wait, before you hang up. I don't think you want 100 of me calling you for the next 6 months, 100 of me calling you for the next 6 months. And that's exactly what's going to happen if you hang up the phone right now. Let me do my job. I just have a quick question for you. Then I'll get you off my list, and I promise I'll never call you again. So when you say you already took care of that, right? Did you up your coverage at work? Did you sit down with someone like myself? And whatever questions you want to do that you are most comfortable answering, those are the two I'm most comfortable with. Did you up your coverage at work? You sit down with someone like myself, or you just plan on not dying anymore? Ha ha. I go, oh no, well, I up my coverage at work. Say, great, that's amazing. I always encourage people to get as much work coverage as they can, because it's cheap or it's free. And the reason it's cheap is because you're renting it. So if you go, it goes. Right. But most of my clients, I do a little bit more than that, but for sake of time, most of my clients want to own something outside of work. So their family's entire financial future is not predicated upon the job they do or do not have. That makes sense, doesn't it? Right. Boom. And then you close, I always answer, doesn't it? Wouldn't you? Couldn't you agree? Don't you agree? Couldn't you? Shouldn't you? They're hook questions, right? So if they say the other one, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but they say the other one, I sat down with someone like myself. How many of me did you sit down with? Now I got them confused. I got the leash. They're going, oh, what do you mean? How many me's did you sit down? What I mean was, when you went out and bought this home originally, you probably shopped around before you made your final decision, didn't you? Well, yeah. Well, did you do that with the coverage? Did you sit down with 6, 7, 8 different agents to be able to go through the 35 carriers and 400 products? Or you just go out with the first person to count to your house? I want the first person to count my house. Oh man, I was afraid of that. And I create the doubt. You know, usually what happens is that guy comes out, who knows how long he's doing the business. He usually shows you 2 or 3 options with the carriers that cost the most amount of money, because they pay the highest commissions, or they send them on the best trips. Good news is I have your information here. Let me verify it, run it through our system. And 90% of the time, I can get you more coverage for a better price. Or I can get you the same coverage you have now, cheaper. I mean, if I could save you money or get you more benefits, you wouldn't be mad at me, would you? Great. So it says here your birthday's, boom, right? But the key back to the asking the questions is, if I can ask questions and lead people to answer the question I want, I'm continually taking them down the road that I want to take them down. And I already have, I don't need to have 17,000 rebuttals memorized. I just need 2 or 3, because I'm the one that holds the leash. I'm the one that is in charge of asking the question. And you always get that one stickler who's an idiot, or, oh, it didn't work. Okay, great. That's 1 out of 100.
Yeah.
Right. 99%
Yeah,
of the time they're going to do it.
We don't focus on the minority. We focus on the majority.
Yeah.
And you like the startleness to it too. Like, wait.
Wait, before you hang up. Well, we do have what's called a crocodile brain. And that crocodile brain only reacts to something that's new, exciting, or different. Right. And you have to get past that part of the brain. That's the fight or flight. You have to get past that part of the brain before you actually get to the limbic and the ones that actually make the decisions. And I'll prove it to you. You ever drive, we don't drive to work anymore, but you ever go somewhere, like maybe it was church or work or your friend's house, and you got so comfortable doing it, you've done it so many times, right? You don't even have to think about it, right? Miranda's on a cell phone. She's driving with her knee. She's doing her eyelashes right there. And all of a sudden she sees detour. What happens? What's the first thing you do? You turn the radio down. Why? What does the radio have anything to do with whether or not you see a detour sign, right? You grab the radio, you turn it down, you put your phone off. I got to call you back. Something is different.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Other parts of the brain that need to make the decision, we need to stay tuned and engage. And now that crocodile brain goes, whoa, should we flee? Should we fight? Should we eat it? Should we mate with it? Right? Like, what's going on? Right? That's how that works. And their brain goes, okay, great. Engage. And that's where you can get the other parts of the brain to engage that are actually the ones that are the decision-making part of the brain. And most people don't have that. So, I mean, that's just a little trick.
That's so good. How many times, Miranda, have you been lost where it's like, where the hell am I? And you have to turn down the radio. Like how the hell does that help me? Like, I can see better when there's no music. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You know, like when you're lost, I always resort to turning down the radio. Like, all right, where am I at?
And I love studying the brain, John. And like neuroscience talks about, you have the neocortex, that's the rational thinking part of the brain. You have the limbic brain, which is the mid part of the brain, which is the emotional and feeling brain. Those are the ones that make the decisions based on emotion. They back it up with logic. But most salespeople, whether they're in a sales, you guys all gonna get to see my son. Hey, Alex.
Hey,
Live on the podcast. Like, he's all working out. He's
there
trying
you
to
go. Look at him. Do it. Show us them. Oh, he's about to. Come on, Alex. Alex, show it. Come on.
Since he got back in basketball. So
There you go. There you go.
yeah,
He did
show
it.
the guns. Show the
I
guns.
love it.
Awesome.
love
Get
it.
to work from home. Now I'm wait. If you're lucky, you might see my wife walk back. But no, I'm just kidding.
Same way. Dude, let's get her. Let's get
No,
her.
not the same way. Oh, you're funny, John. So anyway, most salespeople don't get past the crocodile brain, and that's how they get smashed into a corner. They get hung up on it. They get whatever case may be. You got to disarm that part. Even when I was doing sales inside the home, like, listen, I'm not here to sell you anything. I don't have some special thing in my bag I'm going to pull out and do some big presentation on. If you could pay me $1 million, you can't even buy it tonight, even if you wanted to, right? My job here is just to find out what it is that same type of thing. So that's a whole nother hour podcast we can do. But
let's do the alternative choice, Nate, when you're like offering up a plan.
okay, so when
Like
I'm
offering up options, right? Because you're not going to go in there and you're not going to offer them 6 different options.
No.
We're typically going to do an A or a B, like you just said. Go left 300 feet, go right 1,000 feet, whatever, right? Like, which direction do you want? It's always alternative choice, even when you're offering up options. Yeah.
Yeah, and I usually do 3 options on that. I'll just show them the option. I'll show them the highest, middle, and the low. And you got to, and the biggest thing too in sales, the first price you ever hear is always expensive. I could be sitting down selling mortgage protection. The average policy is $80 a month. I could tell someone it's $40. They go, oh man, that's a lot. What were you expecting? Oh, $2 a month, right? So you got to price shock them, reduce the ridiculous, right? Back when I was selling credit card processing, we used to lease terminals. You just swipe the credit card terminal, they would pay $40 a month on average for 4 years. And they go, how long is the lease for? I go, it's for 10 years. And what do? They go, 10 years? I'm like, I'm just kidding. It's only for 4. Go ahead, sign right here. The brain goes, oh, okay, 4. 10's better than 4. Right?
Yeah, right.
So when even before I show the options, I gotta share the value of it, and I also gotta oh God, we do this so well. Showing the options is one part of it, but I have to create the value of what I'm going to show them first. Does that make sense?
It does, because in the absence of value, price doesn't matter.
Yeah, the only reason I'm here tonight, Miranda, John, is to establish, is there a need that you want to have something put in place for each other so you're not in a financial hardship? And based on our conversation earlier, I think we've established that, haven't we? Nod my head, smile, especially if you're on a Zoom, right? And they'll do that too. So let me explain how the process works. I'm going to show you a number here, right? And you're going to be able to pick, and it's not that important. We pick the exact number tonight. It's easier to go down in coverage than it is to go up. It's easier to take things off than it is to add them on. But all we're doing is figuring out we apply. So let's say you pick a product here, it's $400 a month. Right? I'm not sure what yours is going to be. I'll have it in a minute. And we do it, we put it through, and you lose sleep tonight. Can't just call it and say, hey, we want to lower, we can lower it down for a lower deal, right? My job is just kind of figure out what's going to fit your needs and fit your budget. Now, budget's a loaded word, though, isn't it? What I always found out is people budget for things they see value in. I go to my parents' house, they have every TV channel known to man and pay hundreds of dollars for that. I don't even watch TV, right? There's people that go out there and spend $1,000 a month on beer and cigarettes. There's other people that go to Costco and spend, $1,000 for the entire year for their food, for their family, right? So everyone budgets things differently for what they see value in. And I don't want to make the mistake of judging what you see value in. I mean, third-party story, super important. I went to a homeowner the other day. He had 16 big screen TVs, had a golf bag, pictures of all these golf courses. I think around the golf's like, I don't know, $120, $150, $200 for places that he played at. And we went through his plan and we came down and said, hey, it's going to be $100 a month to cover his wife. Guy had the money. And he goes, nah, I think it's too expensive. And his wife looked up to him like, what do you mean? Am I not worth a round of golf? And he turns to his wife and he goes, you know what? If you die, you can just go live with your sister. John, Miranda, if he told that, John said that to you as your husband, what would you do? I'll tell you what I did. Punch him, right? You never said to your wife, what a jerk. Can you imagine saying that to your wife? No, Miranda, you're not worth, so like, again, I went to a guy's house and he was 67 years old, had all these medications he was taking. And, it was $400 a month to cover him. And I said, listen, I just don't think it's going to fit in your budget. I was new. And he slammed his hand on the table and he said, young man, I will pay whatever it's going to take. So my baby, and he points to his wife, has a roof over her head. So at that moment, I stopped judging what you see value in terms of protecting your family. Does that make sense, John, Miranda? They're dead. They're dead. What are they going to say? John can't be an asshole and say she's not worth it anymore. I used to talk about a cell phone. People spend $100 to, $150 a month for a cell phone. So at that point, I got them because no number going to show them in this scenario is going to be $400. Right. I already asked them what does return of premium something you're interested in or whatever the case may be. I just simply lay out 3 options. Right. So this option right here, return of premium, the catalog option is going to cost you $222 a month. Right. And I try to make the middle one to be fit into their budget. And, in our business, in any sales, you can figure this out. In our business, Edward Pritchett told me take 2% of whatever their annual income is and divide it by 12. So if they're making $100,000 a year, 2% divided by 12 could be where they can pretty much an affordable factor. Now, I'm not saying that's a cut and dry formula. What's that?
$165 a month. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So I'll take a high one. I'll do the maxed out product. I'll do the middle one, which is going to be pretty much in their budget, and then I can do a lower one. And I just show this option, and I hand them the pen. When I was in the home, I handed the pen, they would circle the option. On Zoom, I just circle the option for them.
I like that. And I like how you, Miranda, we talked about that, kind of like overcoming the objections before they come up. If you notice how he did that with his spouse too. That was really good. So I get how you kind of got into the alternative choice, but I think the setup before you presenting the options is the most important part to that.
Yeah, and I know that we're out of time, but I mean, the alternative choice is simple. You don't really need to learn a lot about it. Just offer 2 or 3 choices to limit down what it's going to be, whether it's going to be the sale or the objection and everything else. Third-party stories, we can do another one later on, is really what helps me a lot, because you can call someone an idiot without calling them an idiot.
Right.
You can tell them what
use it through a third-party story. Yeah.
What you're about to do and what you're about to say is the most moronic thing could ever be said. And I'm going to show you how someone else said it. And then it's not on you. And I'm not calling you an idiot, an idiot. And I mean, that's another little magic bullet that my mentor
That's
taught
like
me.
a podcast, if I ever heard one, how to call someone an idiot without calling them an idiot. No, that's let me bring you back for.
You bring it back around.
That's our type of stuff right there, Nate.
Yeah, we're gonna have a part 3 of how to call somebody an idiot without calling them an idiot. So good. Well, listen, we want it one more time. Nate is rad-tastical in the comments section. It's so good. Every single time this dude is on, he brings nothing but fire. And Nate Auffort, we appreciate you so much. And just look out for SWAT for you, man. Toss yourself a little kudos out there. You guys, it's not special weapons and tactics, right? It's not. That's not what your SWAT definition is.
Strategic wealth accumulation tactics. Yep. We spend 2 days going through. I mean, with 2.5 days. It's in the next one's coming up in May 16th to 18th, and it's just 2.5 days of this. I love the fact that you were broke and now you're making a bunch of money. How did you do it? You know what I'm saying? I love you. That's great. I got that. You drive McLaren now and we're living on an air mattress. But what did you do? What did you strategically do every day? How did you sell? How did you overcome people's objection? How do you move the brain? And we just spend 2.5 days of that in terms of recruiting and selling and everything else. And people come out there. I mean, in 2.5 days, people are coming up and saying, I've learned more. And it's not just me there. I bring the top of the top. People like you, like Miranda, that have the results, that are willing to share with people what they do. And people were leaving that event just like, man, I learned more in 2.5 days. I've learned in 5 years in this business. And it wasn't because of Nate Auffort. I played a small role and did my things that I'm great at, but there's experts in the industry like yourselves that had the results, but more importantly, have duplicated the results and shown they can be duplicated. So
Miranda Martin, are you going next May 16th through the 18th? Because I am.
Let's do it.
It's going in my calendar right now. I promise you, Nate Auffort, I made a commitment to you.
Only if he hangs up pictures of you in every room of his house again.
He's got to be across the meeting space.
So if they want more information on it, they go to swattraining.info/events. So it's swattraining.info/events. So
there you go.
Awesome.
Thanks again, guys.
Hey, Nate, thank you so much for coming. Guys, hit like, subscribe, love, make the Nate is rad-tastical or Miranda's rad-tastical or John is rad-tastical. In the comment section, we do like reading what you all have to say. Thank you so much. Miranda, if they don't want to suck at sales, what should they do?
Keep on watching.
That's right.
That's
All right. Hey,
Hashtag.
bye, y'all. Thanks, y'all.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Show me some. Show me some. Show me some. Show me some.